Value-based insurance design is a concept to provide health benefits in a way that spends our money driven by the achievement of individual and population health. We'd like to say that the idea of health has basically been dropped out of the healthcare cost discussion, where more people talk about how much we spend as opposed to how well we spend. So value-based insurance design from the very beginning came from the fact that we were coming across patients here in Ann Arbor and ultimately around the country who were paying amounts of money that they couldn't afford for the services that I begged them to do, for the services that were proven to be most essential. And the trend was going in the way that people had to pay little amounts out of pocket for low-cost stuff and high amounts out of pocket for high-cost stuff. And we said, wouldn't it be a better idea to have people pay low amounts out of pocket for the really good stuff and people pay high amounts out of pocket for the bad stuff? And so doing this now for over 20 years, it's been really kind of fruitful for us to see that most people agree with the idea of more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff. Implementation has been hard because services are difficult to identify as high and low value because sometimes they're high value and sometimes they're low value, which is why we've kind of worked through the first decade or so on those services that we feel that are most obvious to be high value to reduce cost sharing for, and now more recently identifying some what we call low-lying fruit in the low value side that we shouldn't be paying as aggressively as we are for them now. And with the advent of VBID being included in the Affordable Care Act, allowing high-value preventive service to be no cost to patients has kind of anchored the VBID concept into the American persona in the fact that reduction or elimination of cost sharing for preventive services has always ranked as one of the most popular aspects of the Affordable Care Act. And thankfully for us, given its bipartisan support, not only do people who support the ACA like zero cost sharing for preventive services, all Americans, almost 9 out of 10, really like the idea of no cost sharing for preventive services. And thus, our little part of the Affordable Care Act was preserved in almost every one of the attempts to overturn the Affordable Care Act, largely due to its popularity and hopefully its intuitiveness.